All right, folks, welcome back. My name is Rudy. You're watching Alpha Investments, and today we have the post Misty Flesh and Blood release update, and people want to know how things went. First, we ran the Patron sale 10 days ago from the filming of this video. Demand and sell-through rate was substantially higher than heavy hitters. The pace of the orders was quicker, and this was the quickest and best-selling Flesh and Blood set that I've experienced since, I think, probably Dynasty Dusk Till Dawn. Definitely better than, Outsiders, of course, Bright Lights, to Zero. I didn't know how much better the demand would be compared to Heavy Hitters, because Heavy Hitters was already kind of that bottoming, turning process there. But so far, stores are reporting back that, yes, Misty boxes, part of the Mistveil, is sold out. I don't think distribution has extra cases available as of release right now. The secondary market is quite robust right now with single cards going pretty crazy. Take them if you don't believe me. Take a moment, TCG player. Look at the singles. Look at the secondary market here. According to a couple stores doing mass box openings, because again, many stores just don't sell sealed Flesh and Blood boxes and cases anymore, because for whatever reason, people won't buy them nearly the amount, but they'll spend even more on the singles. Remember, only buy the singles you need. Sorry, back to the video. So right now, it does appear expected value of Misty is, I'd say it's probably averaging around $100 a box. Again, take that number very loosely. That number could easily spike 10, 20%, or it could tank 10, 20, 30% as the market starts to settle and calibrate post-release now, okay? But the fact that most rares are still averaging around that dollar range, and of course you have actually, what I'm looking at levels of enlightenment over here, you do have a $20 to $30 Majestic with a bunch of other Majestics averaging the $5 to $10 range, not including the actual marbles and fables and fancy schmancy stuff. And on a large scale of anyone opening 60 to 120 boxes of Misty, and you remove that volatility and variance, it does appear that the EV is around 1 to 125 a box on a large scale right now, when you factor in all the expensive extended art Majestics, and of course fables and marvels and things like that, and legendaries. Now, everybody's asking me, what happens next, Rudy? Is this going to be the turning point for Sealed Fab? I mean, once again, we have the 13th Flesh and Blood release, and just like the last X amount of sets, the box prices remain cheap, and yet the single cards, which is the EV, Flesh and Blood is the only card game. No, Sorcery's doing it too. That's pretty inverted EV. Magic is nowhere near. Pokemon is nowhere near. Flesh and Blood has the most boxes that are cheap, yet the cards are not cheap. I don't know how much longer or if this permanently stays this way. There's a chatter with that, a lot of stores, distribution, chitter chatter. I don't have the answer to it, okay? All I can tell you is the product came out, it is completely sold out. This is the first Flesh and Blood set to have an actual Japanese printing for overseas, completely sold out. And I don't know if there's more coming. I'm assuming there has to be some wave for the US or something. But again, when you look at heavy hitters, very stable. Prices aren't really going lower or higher. Everything's just kind of stable and found its kind of balancing price point. But again, the EV of even heavy hitters is still quite around that same map pricing of 80 to 90 a box range when opening on a large scale, removing variants. And when I say everyone, the people who handle these products and the stores that still sell singles continue to ask the question, is this just a permanent thing for Flesh and Blood? Is this going to be just the way it is? Where every product, the cards are just worth more than the boxes? Does the market just say, oh, boxes are sealed products dead? I don't know why Rudy gets a mustache, but apparently I got a mustache when I say that. But I mean the single cards. So if you have a very competitive player base, okay? Sure, the player base isn't as big as Magic or Pokemon or whatever, but if you have a very hardcore niche group of people, okay, and they want specific cards, they are going to buy those single cards even if the prices drip up. If you have a Majestic at $5, $6, $7, and it gets bid up and all the cheap ones go away, and it goes to $10, $15, $20, even $30 for a Majestic, foil or not, it doesn't seem to matter, because again, the competitive player group in Fab wants the card for their competitive deck or whatever their tournament or wherever they're doing, okay? It seems like without the massive casual base, I feel like that's why you have that discrepancy from sealed to singles. It's again, I've said this a few weeks ago before release. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen a brand that has all these sets coming out and the cards across, like, it's so irrationally backwards. And again, eventually one of two things has to give. Some side of the teeter-totter is going to have to fold. Somebody's got to fold first. Right now, it's either the single cards have to be cheaper to recalibrate with cheap box prices, or B, the boxes have to go up, especially as they age, to reflect the value of the cards in the box. You can't have, in 5 years from now, a box of heavy hitters in 20... Geez, really? It was 5 years from now? Really? 2029? It's almost 2030? Good Lord. You know Rudy's not going to have any... Dude, I'm going to be like Mr. Clean. Like, I'm going to have to put a hat on when I make videos. The light's going to reflect, and it's going to be blinding half of you all. So in like 2030, you can't have heavy hitters at $87 map, and the cards in the box are $150. Like, you can't have an arbitrage inverted market, okay? And we continue to see that. And I'm not sure why or what specific variable is causing that. It's the only card game that has it that extreme with this many product lines that's been around for, is this 5th year? 6th year? 5th year. You know, it's very strange, okay? So I wanted to report back, let everybody know what happened. It did incredibly well. It is the best selling since Dynasty and Dusk Till Dawn era. We ran the Patron sale to you all. We moved around 3,000 boxes of Misty in 30 minutes. The demand was off the charts. We slabbed all the promo cards with PCG, which finally, the employees, everything's being more efficient at PCG, by the way. Our turnaround times have gotten better. Our error rate on the labels or typos have reduced. And so we're finally getting ready to move forward. You'll see some more marketing and different directions and things and more actual, because people still message me all the time. Rudy, when are the player slabs going to be available? It's like, bro, they've been available on the website for like 2 months. We just haven't really pushed and told everybody as we continue. We wanted to make sure, you know, we were good and polished with our skill set and the employees and people running the lasers and encapsulating. We wanted to make sure everything was kind of very polished before we really do any extra pushes or next level of PCG. But so far, it's been incredibly great. And the feedback overall, again, can't please everybody. We talked about that in the other videos, everybody. Overall, the feedback's been incredibly positive for the amount of orders that we send out and the amount of cards that are being graded. I think we're averaging 1,000 to 2,000 a month, maybe somewhere around that. We bounce around, of course. I'm pretty proud of that. But again, we've only been here PCG in Florida full time, really polished for 6 months now. Again, it hasn't even been that long. It's going to take years to really build the brand. Anyways, so I just wanted to report back. Okay, the slab promo through PCG, everybody loved it. And I still get an incredible amount of messages of people just really liking that. And the amount of people that said, wow, I've never actually handled a PCG slab. Holy shit. Yeah, if you've never actually handled one or seen it in person, put it next to the Rudy's PSA or a Beckett or something. Yeah, put it next to the slab. Look at the fucking difference, okay? Seriously. So that's where Misty is, okay? Misty is, I think the other thing, and a couple patrons want me to mention this, if you look at previous Flesh and Blood launches, Bright Lights, Heavy, Outsiders, whatever, if you look at how many even sealed boxes sold on TCG Player, how many single cards sold, this and that, Misty, even just sealed boxes, has outperformed like the sell-through rate per day on sealed product going back to like Bright Lights, obviously, even Outsiders. You're actually seeing more because usually you don't see a lot of sealed sell-through. Even at MAP pricing, it being pegged there on TCG Player, you don't, usually just all the volume is the singles, okay? So that's what's going on with it. Want to report back on it. I don't know what LSS and the company is going to do to manage that. Is there going to be a lot more available? I know already there's a lot of stores asking distribution. And if stores are asking distribution, distributors are going to poke LSS and say, hey, are you going to give us Misty? So they're going to put pressure to release more or print more or whatever the internals are. We're going to see what happens with that. As of right now, I mean, you got to congratulate the company. Set 13 really It's the trend of the last 2 sets has been incredibly positive. And again, it was a 2-year shit bear market. I mean, you know, we all have to acknowledge, I mean, everybody went through a very difficult time. The amount of LGSs that's dropped Magic, dropped Flesh and Blood, said Pokemon was dead, the amount of downturn, the vacuum. We talked about this in 2 videos already. The negative vacuum, the inflation, the consumer spending, the spend rate of everybody buying, the amount of everything was very challenging. 2023 was nasty for all brands across the board. The best surviving brand of 2023 was Pokemon because of the Sword and Shield block. Every other brand, it was a very difficult time. So far, 24 continues to be a very positive year for all CCGs moving forward right now. And it does look like that trend is going to continue. And so far now, Flesh and Blood's got 2 home run, very successful releases in a row. And if I would assume this trend is going to continue based on the design and what we're seeing. And if we have a 3rd and 4th, it's going to be, I think you're going to actually see, at least what I'm hoping, is a lot of the stores who haven't carried Flesh and Blood since maybe Everfest or Tales of Aria, or even just, you know, Uprising or something. There's a lot of stores in the US. And, you know, they watch my videos, they comment on the videos, and they just, distribution will ask them, hey, do you want to be in for a couple cases? And these stores are they won't do it. They've gone back, or they've dropped Magic, they've dropped all newer card games, and they're literally just like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Weiss or something, you know? So I'm really curious, just like Magic, how many upticks and how much strength in Flesh and Blood's releases do we need to see until you have a market sentiment kind of shift with stores and many of the people, not just the players, but like the collectors and evil investors? Where's going to be that pivot point? Okay, how many products need to be like a Misty level success for those people to be like, you know what, fuck, maybe I should take a look here? Because, you know, we're seeing that resistance for that certain segment, just like we are still seeing that same resistance for fucking Magic and Hasbro. So that's about it. Congrats to Misty and everything. What a huge home run there. And we're going to do a follow-up video, probably give it another 2-3 weeks. I want to see release plus 30 days because I want to compare. I want to see if you have the Majestics holding up at the same prices, and of course Marvels and things based on, because right now, this sold out faster than we've had in Fab sets in a long time. Okay? Well, without overprinting, with it being sold out, without tons of manipulation of back in the olden days, with the product being legitimately gone, if the players and people aren't buying sealed boxes, because, you know, buy the game pieces you need, if everyone just keeps buying the Majestics and cards they want, the EV is going to get worse. You can push the EV from like 100 to like 150 to 200 a box if you have a very extreme slant. So I haven't seen that with Flesh and Blood, but again, in this market, shit, I mean, there's no way to predict what's going to happen, but I at least want to let you all know the results of the actual Mistveil sale from the last few days when it actually released. And yeah, the data's the data, folks. Love it or hate it. Congrats, that is what it is. Giggity!